This podcast is sponsored by Shred Lights. Shred Lights make the most versatile flashlights in the world. They can be easily attached to any EUC, skateboard, bike helmet, scooter, one wheel, and much more. These pocket-sized lights pack a ton of power in a small form factor to go where other lights can't. They are rider-owned and operated and known for industry-leading customer support with 25,000 riders around the world who trust their products for daily riding. So please check out this sponsor in the description below for a discount and to support this podcast. Now to our guest, Tom Pagut.
Like growing up in New Jersey, like we had longboards and stuff growing up, and like we just, we used to go to like parking garages and bomb parking garages, that kind of thing. We learned how to, slide, and we made slide gloves out of like kitchen cutting boards and like Walmart gardening gloves. And we, just got into longboarding hardcore. When I got to college, I was like longboarding to class everywhere. That's like my main form of transportation back then. And then my buddy Sam Sheffer, who I went to high school with, was like, yo man, like this thing called the boosted board is out and like you need to try one. And I was like, nah, that's stupid, dude. Skateboards are skateboards. Like I don't want to put on a motor on my skateboard, right? And then I tried one and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing that I've ever done in my entire life. Don't try to hide, 'cause I'm gonna harm you like an animal.
So welcome back, everybody, to the EVlution podcast. Today with me, I have Tom Pagut.
How's it going, everybody?
Is that how you say it? Pagut?
Pagut, yeah.
Okay.
Super Polish.
Oh, is it Polish?
Yeah. Got made fun of as a kid.
I'm sure.
It's okay, though.
I'm Irish, my family, but there's a few Polish guys that ride EUC.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. We got everybody out here.
Right on. So Tom is an e-boarder, a longboarder, a longboard dancer, I think is the term you like to.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. So yeah, I would like to know just off the bat, give us a little rundown of like, what were the steps that led you to getting into e-boarding?
E-boarding, all right.
Like what devices? How'd you get there?
Yeah, so like growing up in New Jersey, like we had longboards and stuff growing up, and like we just, we used to go to like parking garages and bomb parking garages, that kind of thing. We learned how to, slide, and we made slide gloves out of like kitchen cutting boards and like Walmart gardening gloves. And we, just got into longboarding hardcore. When I got to college, I was like longboarding to class everywhere. That's like my main form of transportation back then. And then my buddy Sam Sheffer, who I went to high school with, was like, yo man, like this thing called the boosted board is out and like you need to try one. And I was like, nah, that's stupid, dude. Skateboards are skateboards. Like I don't want to put on a motor on my skateboard, right? And then I tried one and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing that I've ever done in my entire life. So I got a boosted board.
What about it though? Like,
so it was a loaded longboard, and I rode loaded longboards forever before that. So my first longboard.
Loaded just mean it's like
It's a company. Loaded is a brand of longboard. So my first ever longboard was a Sector 9 bamboo, and I eventually upgraded to a loaded dervish. And a loaded dervish like kind of changed my not changed my mind, but like opened me up to a whole new level of longboarding that I wasn't like.
So what are they doing? What does their board do for you?
So it's 100% bamboo, and it's like flexy, and it has this ride. Like I don't even know how to describe it, but if you ask anybody who's ridden a loaded longboard before, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, loaded, man, it has that vibe. It has that feeling that like you don't really get from a lot of other boards out there."
It's just super flexible.
Super flexible, is a really nice ride. Maybe the Paris trucks have something to do with it, but it was just like the best combination of parts on a board that I have ever ridden. And then they threw a motor on one, and they built their first board on the loaded Vanguard. And I came from a Dervish, which is like the same kind of like similar type of deck, but the Vanguard's not drop through. The Dervish is drop through. It's basically the same other than that. Got on the boosted board, changed my life, best thing ever, loved it. I was telling my friends, I was like, yo, you got to get a boosted board. Everyone's got to get a boosted board. All my buddies growing up longboarding eventually bought a boosted board. And I was telling them, I was like, yo, like, I'm definitely going to work for this company. Like, no doubt, like 100%. I'm going to like figure out a way to work for this company. And they had a group ride in Manhattan. I'm trying to think, 2017, summer of 2017.
Okay.
I had just gotten my board. I ended up meeting Bobby Dunn, who was like one of their high ups at Boosted at the time. Mm-hmm. And he was like running the group ride, and he was like, oh, we got to go get pizza. And I was like telling him where all the good spots were in Manhattan. And he like messaged me on Instagram, or not Facebook, a few days later and was like, hey man, like what's going on? Like we want to bring you onto the team. And I'm like, oh shit, like what the hell? This is crazy.
Wait, so what did you do at this point that he
So I just kind of
offered
like
that?
helped. I just helped set up the group ride for them, and then I kind of also like started running my own group rides, like outside of like their official like boosted capacity in
Okay.
New York. I was like, hey, like we're gonna get a bunch of people together. We're gonna do group rides, and just kind of took over from there. And they reached out and they were like, hey man, we're gonna send you some boards and you just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll love to have you on the team. And I was like, oh hell yeah, this is great. So
It's like a really like dream, but like old school, like sponsored skater situation.
kind of, yeah. Coming from like who had never been like, I was never like a great longboarder or anything like that. Like I've longboarded for a long time, but I'm like, I'm not professional. I'm not, like a pro skateboarder in any way.
Sure.
I just love the craft, and it kind of just like went from there, just getting more people hyped on it, and we started growing out. I mean, NYC e-boarding was definitely around before I started,
Okay.
and so like Mario and Rick and some of those other guys have been doing it for a long time. But yeah, with Boosted, we just hit the ground running, and then from there it just kind of exploded. And like I feel like summer 2018, like our group was insane. Like I feel like that's when you guys kind of came on. We got more unicycles and like other kinds of like vehicles started showing up to boosted group rides, and it really just kind of exploded from there.
I think a couple of things caused that. I think it was like Tashawn invading that space.
Yeah, he would be the one unicycle on a
Yeah.
boosted ride, and it'd be like, what is this crazy thing you're on, man?
Yeah. I'm gonna move this down slightly.
definitely.
So there we go.
I get a little excited.
No, it's all good. Hold on. Behind the scenes here, we're just gonna slightly move this. Okay.
You edit these later?
No.
Oh, okay.
So it's all in.
We're live.
We're live. I don't like to edit this. It's not that kind of show.
Yeah.
I do a lot of editing otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think Tashawn was really pivotal in that. I think once the electric unicycles became sort of formidable, like we had enough battery in them, because forever, I think we were all kind of neck and neck as far as like how much like battery that was. We always had like a little bit more than probably like a boosted, but like still wasn't. I think you guys, your speed killed us for a little while on the boosted. It was like the fastest was like 26 or something.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a bit of a comparable situation. But then eventually like it became, we got more battery, more speed, and that really changed. And that's when I think we started showing up and we were like riding, we could hang with you guys. And then it was like, I think we left you in the dust after that. It was like the battery tech, once it opened up, it was like, whoa.
Definitely.
It was crazy.
Yeah. And the boosted with, we had the first boosted had 7-mile range battery, and then we got the extended range, which is 14 miles, but really only like 9 if you're really hauling it. And so like that was like, oh man, we can go 9 miles. And then you guys were like, all right, well, we got like 15, 20, 30. And now like, I mean, some of these.
My Sherman is 100-mile range.
100 miles of range. Yeah. I got an Evolve Bamboo GTR right now, and I love it. 30 miles of range on my street wheels, which is awesome for an e-board, like no doubt.
How much, do you know the battery size? How much battery is on it?
I'm not 100% sure on like the actual watt hours.
I'm just always been a little curious about like how their tech is designed, where the Sherman aside, which clearly has an insane amount of battery in it.
Yeah.
Like I think just the way they're doing their whole situation with the boards probably is a bit different to where they can't completely maximize it the way we can. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I feel like a comparable battery on an EUC versus an e-board, we would still get better range than you.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not really sure why that is.
It might have something to do with the size of the actual motor. Like the physical motor on yours are so much bigger, right? You guys have like, a 1,000-watt motor, but it's like, 15 inches or whatever. I got a 1,000-watt motor shoved into 3 inches. So like, I don't know if that has, I mean, I'm no engineer. I have no idea. This is just, I mean, yell at me in the comments. I have no idea.
Yeah, let us know.
People know.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Evovle is like, Tom,
what the hell,
Tom?
Man? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an engineer, and I mean, I'm not a DIYer. I don't want to have to deal with any of that.
Next level.
Yeah, and definitely they're pushing the boundaries.
Yeah,
but I don't want to deal with that. If my remote cuts out, I want to know I have someone behind me that's gonna fix it for me. I don't want to have to be like fiddling with that, or anything like.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so you dive into boosted.
Yeah.
That's pretty much everyone for a little while.
Like 2-3 years.
Yeah. And there's a lot to be said on boosted here, but so did you guys have any that early on? Did you have any complaints, any gripes? Like, if you were honest about boosted.
I mean, at the time, not knowing what else was out there, it was the perfect thing. Like it was like there was boosted could do no wrong in my mind at that time.
Sure.
And as the market expanded, as we got more and more like other boards were starting to come out, we started to see Evovle boards, we started to see Metro boards, we started to see all these other boards come out that were outside of, the boosted board with the bright orange wheels. Like, oh, what the heck is that thing?
Yeah.
And you start noticing, like, we don't have a lot of range. Like, we have a good top speed, we got good power, we have a really great delivery system, the remote was ergonomically beautiful, but like, and you look and you're like, man, you aren't charging yet. Like, I'm dead. Like, oh, you're not charging yet. Like, okay, all right. And you start to see like all these people that are like coming out with oh man, you got the Metro board, oh, you got 30 miles, you got 50 miles. Like, you start seeing Callies and LaCroix.
I have to feel like you at that point, you guys are all like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy here, but you're just like yearning so badly. You're just like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like, just to have some more battery. I feel like that, we can get into it a little later, but that's like, if there's a epitaph on the headstone of boosted, it's they never gave us enough battery.
I would agree. That would be the one thing. If I had a true boosted battery that did like a solid 20 miles, and that was 20 miles top speed, that would be like that would be like the perfect board to me. Like, that's more than enough range that I need to get around the city. Like, I'm not going that far. I'm not living in Queens or anything like that. I'm in Manhattan. Yeah. Like having that power and that ergonomic control with just like having so little range, like you're doing little sprints around the city. Every time you go somewhere, you need to charge for an hour.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of memes that have come out of that. But I always felt like you guys would have been beneficial, or you would have benefited from what I call the 30 for 30. Like, if you could do 30 miles range and your top speed was 30 miles an hour, like, that'd be like killer. That would be like the ideal boosted had they been able to pull that off.
Yeah, like I see, like the 30 miles an hour. Like I get wanting to have that speed. I can do 29, 28 on the Evolve with the 107s. And even then, like, I'm never going that fast, actually. Like, I'm never, like, full on pulling the trigger, hauling ass, like 30 miles. I mean, you guys on unicycles, you have way more headroom, right? Where 30 miles an hour, you're chilling.
But interesting you say this. Kevin let me ride his board the other day.
The LaCroix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Albeit I was seated like Mario Kart. He was just messing around. We were having fun. It taught me, okay, so when I've had my first unicycle, it's hard to describe this, but basically like the lower powered ones, to get to whatever its top speed is, the way they design the software and the firmware or whatever, like, it would be a little bit of like a challenge to get to the top end, even if it was like 25, right?
Okay, yeah.
Then I would try like a Gotway wheel. To get to its top end seemed a little. I didn't have to try so hard. Then, I mean, it progressed from there, but then my Sherman out there, right? To get to 30 is like a small push.
Yeah.
So I think that might also, I could be wrong here, let us know if we're wrong. I think that might also play into it. It's like, how hard do they make you work to get to it? So I feel like with his LaCroix, the amount of, roll or trigger pull is a lot less to get to hit his top speed than potentially another one. Do you think that could be?
That definitely could have something to do with it. Because, like, I do feel like I don't know, like, even on a boosted board, like, when you're, like, pushing the remote and you're trying to hit the top end, right, you're holding it at the end, like, I don't know, you're still not, like, you like it. Like, you like the speed, you like the power. It's just not, like, where I'm not even the most comfortable, because, like, it's not like I have a problem with riding 24 miles an hour, like, full on for as long as, it's just that having it held down, like, full board doesn't feel right or as comfortable. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if that makes any sense or anything like that. I just, I don't know. Like, I want a comfortable, like, ride. I'm not trying to, like, speed demon everywhere I'm trying to go. I don't know. But yeah, if the headroom was there, then maybe that would be.
I always felt like when I had like a King Song wheel back in the day, like, to get to like 31, which was like the top of like the 18XL I had, from 25 on, you really felt like you were rocketing to space. Like, it felt like you were trying so hard. Not a bad way. You were just like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying so hard to get to 30. And then I would get on a Gotway and I'm like, boop. Oh, I'm at 30.
At 30, yeah.
And you're like, this is interesting how they geared these completely differently. So I feel like you probably on an Evovle or anything comparable, like the way they gear it is probably for a little more safety, right? But like they probably make it a little bit tougher to like get up there at the top end of
and
that
just, like,
curve.
maintain it.
So you feel like you're working hard to get there. So you're like, it might freak you. I think psychologically it might freak you out. You know, you're like, I'm trying so hard.
Yeah. I wonder if that has the same. So, like, on your Sherman, then, if you're pushing 45, 50, do you get that same feeling where you're trying to. Yeah. Okay. So then it could just be the headroom then.
Like, I
feel like in a car it would be similar. Like, I'm, like, cruising on the highway going 60 or whatever in my, like a, Mustang or whatever. And then I'm in a little Honda Civic and I'm going 60 and I'm really fucking flooring it.
Yeah.
Sorry if I can curse on here.
You completely can.
Okay.
We have a janky setup here, which will be getting better soon, but these are like condenser mics, so excited guests make me nervous. Anyway, so little things are popping off. But so it's like from 45 on, again, I think it's psychological, but I'm like, it freaks me out to go beyond that. Mm-hmm. But the Sherman's an anomaly. It's like, I don't think I have to really push that hard at the top end, but I feel like I do. Mm-hmm. It's in your head. You're like, oh my God, I'm 48, 49. It's like, crazy.
Do I really want to keep going, or do I even need to keep going?
Well, because as you would understand, because you have a Tesla. Like,
I had a Tesla. Got rid of it.
We'll get back to that.
6 months.
Basically, at the top end, if you're riding at the top end, and you hit the wrong kind of bump and it pops you up and it free spins, but then you went over the line, cut out.
Yeah.
So it's a little with any unicycle, but that's not really a thing for you, right?
No,
and boards,
we don't cut out. Yeah.
Worst case, it powered off,
and
then you're just free skating,
free rolling. Yeah. You don't have brakes.
But I heard that there's like a thing where sometimes other bad things can happen with the motor or something like.
I've seen like people get shit, wedged in their belts and send them flying. I've seen, it's, you're on a piece of wood going 30 miles an hour, right? So like, or 25 or whatever, whatever. But
no, look, we don't have to all be going fast.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. 25 miles an hour in a bike lane is pretty fast. I don't know. I can get anywhere I need to faster than most cars in the city anyway, just because of traffic and lights and things like that. But,
Well, I mean, if you look at like someone cruising on a bike, like just really trying, they're definitely hitting 25.
Yeah.
Which brings the whole like silliness of trying to
speed limits.
Regulate that. You're like, bro, that guy without a motor, like the guys who are like Tour de France.
Yeah, clip
they
ins.
They go 40.
Yeah, dude, they're fast. On the West Side Highway, man, sometimes I can't keep up with people.
Exactly.
And they're cruising.
So it makes it all a joke to me.
And sometimes and they don't want to stop too. That's the thing. If someone comes out in a crosswalk or whatever, like, I got brakes, I'll stop, no problem. They don't give a hell. They don't give a fuck. But yeah.
Yeah. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're boosted. All right. Let's dive into this. So boosted died a somewhat expected but unexpected timely death.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we all saw the writing on the wall for a while.
Yep.
Dude, the craziest part though is like, so Boosted did those like fact-finding pizza parties at Phil Apache.
Yeah.
And they were just, I don't completely agree with it, but they were getting trolled so hard by the unicycle community at those things. It's like, what was that?
I don't know. I mean, like, this, I guess we gave out free pizza, and that was the thing. It just brought everybody. Like, we just, I don't know. Like, it was the holiday house at Phil Apache, right?
Yeah.
And we just had, like, 4 events. Like, it was just, like, people would come out and, like, have some free pizza and just, like, talk about, like, it wasn't even about electric skateboard stuff. Like, we had Sam come and talk about, like, Tesla for a little bit. Not, like, Tesla's,
But it was put on by Boosted.
Yeah, it was put on by Boosted, but it was, like, featuring, like, guests. Like, Jeremy Cohen was there. He's a photographer. Like, he just talked about he rides his Boosted board to, like, shoots and stuff like that every now and then.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around what they were trying to do.
I don't know, man.
Like, I feel like they were actually trying to figure out, like, what they should do next try to save the company.
There was, like, a sale on boards that winter, and they were, I don't know, they were trying to, like, take over, like, Super 73 took over Phil Apache similarly, like, a few months before. They were trying to do something similar to that, but they were also, like, at the end of their budget, I believe, and that they closed in March, and so that was in December.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely remember, like...
Oh, it was the release of the 105s and the
cloud,
the lights too.
The lights,
the
very expensive lights.
Very expensive lights. Although I will say, out of all boards right now, the only board that has something similar is that Meepo Mini, not Meepo, XY Mini with the
is that
with
what's
the
called?
integrated lights. I don't know. The
It's called Wave? Yeah.
Every company should do integrated lights. Every company.
Unless you want to buy shred lights. By the way, it's like,
Good point.
no, but
I do like shred lights. I have them on my
how
phone.
much would those go for?
It was like $250 or something like that. For
Really?
lights, just for lights.
I thought it was like $80.
No.
That is insane.
Yeah.
For a flashlight on the bottom of
Yeah.
your board.
Yeah.
That's both of us are like ambassadors for shred lights, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that makes that hilarious in like a sarcastic way that people say dumb stuff like, "Oh, they're overpriced."
Yeah,
for
about
a
shred
shred
lights.
light. You're like,
Yeah.
are you nuts?
I mean, you see them on eBay going for $300, $400, $500, like used now because people can't get them anymore.
I don't.
For a boosted
Just
board.
because it was tied into your battery.
Yeah.
Why?
It's very convenient.
Which was already small.
I will say
though?
it is very convenient. If shred lights could come out with something that plugs in directly
I
somewhere.
disagree about that. I
No?
feel like shred lights being on its own battery supply is a much better deal.
Yeah.
Like you already were complaining about the battery life already, and now you're powering.
How much is an LED light taking up?
Bro, when you're charging every 7 miles, it's enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, so I know that like Boosted had so Kevin kind of explained it to me. There was an extended battery pack or an extra battery scenario, but he said it was like kind of like
The mods
a
people
bait
were
and
doing?
switch. No, like for the extended range Boosteds, you have to fill me in. I'm trying to piece it together here in my
Okay.
head. There was an extended range battery, or maybe it was a backup battery system.
there
But
was-
he was saying it was kind of you were like paying out the butt for like something that was super silly.
I don't know. So the extended range battery for the boosted was $400, but like a significant upgrade. Like if you had a standard range battery and you came on a group ride, you would not make it anymore because we wouldn't be worried.
So 1,700 roughly for a Boosted.
Well, you can get it
Plus
after the XR came out. Then they sold it straight up with the XR battery on it for the same price. It was like $1,500 or whatever.
That's got to be frustrating if you just bought like just before
You
that.
bought it beforehand, yeah. There was a thing where they give you like a discount if you bought it earlier or something. But I bought mine with a standard range battery, and then I used whatever code that they had to pre-order the extended range battery.
Okay.
Then when I got that, by the time I got my extended range battery, I was an ambassador, and I had 3 other boards. But
Right.
yeah,
Okay, so what do you think was the nail in the coffin aside from like I guess you can say just the battery, but what made them finally like
honestly, I think the scooter killed them, man. I think them putting
A lot of money in that.
so much money on the scooter. Apparently, like I mean, I don't know like any of the inner workings, but I read a report on Forbes that they blew through $60 million in 1 year on R&D for a scooter. Like the scooter is fun to ride, but the scooter is not like you don't need to reinvent
It
the
was
wheel
awful.
there. Like it was fun to ride though, honestly.
I rode that thing a few times. People had it.
Yeah.
I've ridden a lot of other Chinese ones.
Yeah.
The Chinese ones are much more fun.
I think the power delivery on it though is like great compared to like I tried the Inokim, I tried the
That company's awful for what it's worth. Don't ever buy from them.
the what is the other one? The Xiaomi like that's just
So
not it doesn't even compare
Well,
though.
hold on. I understand why you're comparing those, but like the Xiaomi is like the 365 or whatever is like
$500.
right.
Walmart
Price
scooter,
point's cheap,
yeah.
and it's same as like I have the Segway Max out there.
Okay.
Same kind of thing. How much was the rev?
1,500.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you go to a $1,500 scooter,
Yeah.
it's like double the specs.
So I want to try the Turbo Wheel Swift.
Yep.
That was one I was looking at that's really similar, but apparently sold out everywhere. Everywhere I keep looking, I couldn't find one in stock.
Talk to Jason at EVO. He might have some.
Okay. Because I want to replace a Rev. Because again, the thing with the Rev is the battery is terrible. Like it is. I honestly feel like it is fun to ride. Like
It is exactly what Boosted would have done, right?
Out of it, exactly. Yeah, they
It's
advertised 22 miles, and like I think barely she
7?
gets 7.
7.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like it's I don't know. It was not.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It just reeked to me as an outsider who's not a boarder of just like typical sort of like Silicon Valley bullshit. Like it just felt like they were just trying to make a buck, and maybe they had good intentions when they started because they had sort of that lineage from the loaded deck where it just became all about serving the investors, and like they're similarly, I feel like, and I'd be curious to know what you think about it. One Wheel, I feel like, has fallen into that. I feel like we've seen the fallout from certain guys like Andrew Stroh, who now is like a huge EUC guy.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's like something that has happened in the structuring of the companies to where they can't afford to care about the customers anymore. And to be fair, I'm not talking about like Boosted's sort of wildly easy replaceable system where like if anything broke, they would just fix it for you.
Free,
That's like kind of stupid. Like I don't know why they did it like that. That's
could have had a huge part in why they went out of business too. And
surely.
I mean, when the V3 came out, I mean, I had my motors replaced like 6 times.
Oh my gosh.
6 times.
Yeah.
Like,
well, what's wrong with that motor that
I mean, so that was the thing. They did sneakily do a redesign. Like towards the end of their life there was an issue of a redesign for the V3, and I got some of those new motors and they're fine. So like they changed factories and then they fucked them up. And there's a physical difference on the actual like motor. You can see the one has the pulley on the outside, or not the pulley, but like there's a bearing that kind of like sticks out.
Okay.
That one will have noise and eventually start wobbling and make that crazy grinding noise.
Wow.
The other one has the bearing on the inside and it's fine. But yeah.
Gotcha.
People that know to look for the bearing on the inside.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look for the bearing on the inside. Yeah. All right. So so what do you think? Yeah. What are the factors that just did them in?
I think it was a scooter. It was really the scooter.
Okay,
They
so
were
just the
pushing,
scooters,
pushing
I mean.
the scooter. Like they were still selling boards. They're still selling boards. That Boosted USA company bought all their old stock, and they're still selling boards now.
That I don't quite understand.
I don't understand that either.
Like, maybe it's a quick little buck for them to make
I don't
on
even
the last.
like
of the,
maybe for that company, but I feel like it was the bank had repossessed everything at that point, so they just auctioned it off.
Oh right, so they
whoever-
probably got it super cheap. Like,
Yeah,
we'll just make
so
a
they
buck.
probably just got it for super cheap.
But were they offering like service too?
They said that there was like a 30-day warranty or something like that, but if it rode on the road, then your warranty was void. So like I don't really know.
Sounds like a David Jensen
Yeah.
warranty.
Oh, dude.
Called out, David. Again.
Slow guy.
Slow rider. All right. So then I was going to say that. So basically, once they went under, was it like minute 2 after they were dead that Evovle called you up?
No, actually. So right after Boosted went down, Mike McHugh, which used to work at Boosted, he was their head of like customer success or something like that. Hit me
Customer
up.
success.
Yeah, I don't know. He hit me up and I don't know, customer something. But he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, like I'm working for dot boards now. Do you want to try a dot board?" And I was like, I hadn't heard of it. There was like one video online that The Verge had done a review of, and it was like, I don't know, not very informative. And I was like, you know what, I'll try one. Like, you know, I'm not tied to any company right now. Like, sure, go ahead and send me one or whatever. So I tried it. It was fun. It was all right. Again, like the battery wasn't what it was, you know, hyped up to be. Like, 30 miles of range or whatever. I got like maybe 12. And so like it really wasn't like, again,
Golly,
like,
half.
yeah, you know, because they recommend like in your eco mode and you're an 80-pound rider and you have a 20-mile wind behind you. You know, like it's that kind of thing. And so like Evovle actually messaged me on Instagram and they were like, "Hey man, like we're sorry about Boosted, blah blah. If you're ever looking for another board, just let us know." And I was like, that's like a nice way to go about it. They weren't trying to like, you know, snipe me or anything like that.
Sure.
And I had, you know, tried their boards a few times. I hadn't had a ton of time on it. But just looking at like the specs and everything, I was like, you know what, like this is like everyone that I know that has an Evovle board was like, yeah, you really actually get 30 miles of range like riding it. And I was like, okay, all right, like that's actually like awesome, sounds amazing. So I messaged them back, and Matty over there, who's been like great, he's kind of like my manager, I guess. So he was like, yeah man, like we'll go ahead and send you a board. So he had Alex, the head of their like US I don't know, because like Evovle has a bunch of different companies
Because they're based in Australia, right?
based in Australia,
Yeah.
but there's like Evovle USA, there's Evovle New Zealand, there's Evovle UK. They're all like kind of their own like separate like mini brands, I guess.
Yeah. We saw that with Gotway for a little while.
Okay.
There was a Gotway USA, and that literally ended in a fiery mess.
Were they just a distributor? I think Xway did the same thing.
Yeah, kind of, like, basically. But there's strange money backing it, too, so it was like...
Weird.
Yeah, anyways.
But yeah, so Alex over at Evovle USA sent me a bamboo. Well, he actually asked me. They were like, "Yo, which one do you want?" And I was like, "Well, I want a bamboo board. I've always ridden bamboo boards. Like, send me the bamboo." So I got the bamboo GTR, and I've been riding that ever since. Probably right before COVID started. Honestly, is when I got it. I'm trying to think like March something.
Is it as flexible as the Boosted?
It's a different type of flexible. So like when you step on a Boosted, the Boosted kind of like has like a camber to it, not like a camber, but like a hump to it. And when you step on a Boosted, it flexes to meet you at
It's like my kid's bed from
like
IKEA.
level. Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
They
I don't
have
know your
like
kid's bed,
beechwood
but-
underneath,
Okay.
and it's like this. It's like a tent, and when you lay on it, it then
So it
flattens.
so it sinks to like then you when you're standing on it, then it's flat. So the Evolve is flat, and then when you stand on it, it stays flat. But when you hit a bumper, when you actually need it to flex, then it will
flexes.
actually go down and
It kind of
flex,
feels like
yeah.
a Sector 9 situation.
It's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit stiffer than like a loaded board, but I've gotten used to it. It does take a little bit to get used to it. I mean, a different remote actually was probably the biggest hurdle.
Sure.
Because I had, 4,000 miles on a boosted remote with a thumb dial, and
Sure.
you just get used to that. It's second nature.
I feel like the battery probably is what limits the flexiness, right?
Yeah, so there is a
There's
huge
no way
giant
around
battery
that.
on the bottom. It is segmented, so it does have like some give
Right.
to it. But I don't know if that's just their design or if that's just what.
Because that's like boosted. Probably one of the reasons they never would let go of that silly battery situation is they probably were too obsessed with.
That flex.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like you have to grow as a company. They couldn't get beyond that.
Yeah, or something. I mean, I'm trying to think the other boards that have like a
Look,
flex
if
like that.
if boosted had like done like what the Evolve GTR looks like, the Bamboo, like, yeah, it's not as flexible, but here's this 30-mile range. It's real. People would be like,
yeah,
I'll let it go.
yeah,
I'll completely let it go.
yeah,
Because the whole industry sort of changed. They started the change, right? Boosted. Then you had great companies like Evolve, and people will show up pretty soon after. And then it was like you created a hurricane, and then you couldn't really follow it.
yeah. That's definitely what they did. Is like, and even now, like I'll notice like if I post something on Instagram or something like that, if I don't hashtag boosted boards in even an Evolve post, it doesn't do as well. Which is weird because they had spent so much money on like social media and like marketing and things like that,
Right.
that they like have this huge following still, even though like a lot of people like you still see on Reddit and things like that, people posting like, oh, where can I buy a boosted board, and don't even know they're out of business, and like it's
That's crazy.
weird, yeah.
I'm gonna tag boosted on all this stuff. Well, I have to.
Yeah.
it's apropos now. That's funny.
Yeah.
That kind of happens with sort of the 9-bot. The Z10 unicycle, that was one that was like the big fat wheel. If you ever saw that one,
Okay.
that was
I think his
going
had
around for a
one.
while. Yeah, he
Yeah.
had one. They're not out of business. 9-bot's still around, obviously, but they stopped making unicycles.
Oh, okay.
So all the time we see people show up online and go, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying this wheel. What do you guys think about the price?" or blah blah blah, and we're like, "Don't buy it."
Yeah.
And they get offended.
Yeah.
We're like, "Listen, I'm trying to help you."
Yeah, that you can't get
Like,
parts. You can't get
parts.
serviced,
It's
yeah.
we call it the fire wheel for a reason. It had real big issues, like, and then there's no one to help you. So
Yeah.
if you get this and something happens, that's it. There's no, and they're like, "Oh, you're not helpful." Like,
I'm
I'm trying to warn you. I'm trying to be straightforward with you,
Yeah.
which is like,
You want to know
short
about this
answer:
before.
don't buy this wheel.
Yeah. Like, sure, it might have great specs and everything, but if you can't get service for it,
The
if you
specs
can't-
weren't amazing.
I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. But
The thing is, as an electric unicycle compared to all stuff before, I think stuff now is different, but like it was something that felt like it was ripped off a motorcycle as opposed to this like nerdy little thingy,
yeah.
right? So people still to this day see it and go, "Whoa, that's cool looking," right? But there was a lot of issues with it that I'm sure is similar to other, e-boards. There's like people like a boosted, like, "Oh, sick. I know the brand. It looks cool. It's got the flexi, but it's like, oh, 6-mile range or
Yeah.
whatever." It's like that was its plague. Like we took one on a big group ride to where did we go? Oh, just New Jersey. Went to like Matsuo over New Jersey.
Okay.
And the guy on the Z10 was like 70% when he started, which was like silly.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got there, he was trying to charge. We all were charging a little bit too, but his charger was like a slow charger. It was like 2 amps or something.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And so the rest of us were like pumping 6 amps or 10 amps into our wheels, and he's like struggling.
over there,
He
yeah.
had to call a cab.
Oh.
Like it was like bad news.
Yeah.
So it was we were calling him the boosted rider of that trip.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, you go on a group right now, like it's kind of rare to see a boosted board now. And
Is
like,
it?
It's getting more rare. I don't know. Like with the Halloween ride, there was probably like maybe 3 or 4. Like
Okay.
there wasn't a ton.
Impressive.
Yeah, they're slowly phasing them out. I mean, not that like, I loved boosted when it was around, and like to see how it went out like hurt. Like it was a sad time, but like we need to get more range. Everyone needs to get more range.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fanboyism that people still are trying to buy one now.
Yeah.
And
And you see wheels go for $600 on
bro, how much
eBay.
money did you make off of wheels?
$710.
Jeez.
Brand new set of boosted 105s. I didn't use them. I got a few sets for my.
Do you think there's a bit of
longboards.
celebrity to it? They were like, Tom
I
had
don't even
these.
think so. I don't know. I mean, I did put like a whole bunch of like. I felt bad honestly when it went because I started the bid at $200, right? And they were like originally sold for $250 or something like that.
So it was an eBay situation.
And eBay just took off. It was crazy. My phone was blowing up. And I like felt
looked at
bad at the end. I was like, oh my
like,
God, 710, yo. But I like put literally like probably like 100 different stickers of like NYC e-boarding and like your stickers and like any stickers that I had that I like in there and I sent it to the guy. The guy lived in San Francisco. So like, I feel he probably had the money. Like, I don't know. But,
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, look, if he's the one trying to buy it, then he clearly had the money.
Yeah.
If someone told me I should buy a bunch of wheels for $700, I'd be like,
Four
it ain't
urethane
happening.
reels, yeah.
Was it only 4?
Yeah, 4 wheels. And then the pulleys. But
For what it's worth, we're not calling you a sucker. We're just pointing out that there was just a wild fanboyism like at the end of the life of Boosted that caused people to do semi-irrational things.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on the Evolve now. I'm assuming you've tried what do they call their black deck? What is that called?
The carbon.
The carbon.
Yeah,
Not
so
a fan.
I've tried it a little bit. It's a stiff deck. It's higher off the ground. It's personally
For our city, it's probably not the greatest.
I like a flexible bamboo
Right.
deck, and so that's kind of what
It's
I
like
stuck
suspension.
to. Yeah, a little bit, definitely. I mean, the carbon is probably great if you're doing a lot of off-roading or if you're a heavier dude. Definitely, if you're a heavier dude, probably go for the carbon just because you know like
250 or more.
probably something like that. Yeah, because there is no flex. You're not going to get any closer to the ground, and that definitely is something to worry about. On a boosted board, definitely like you see heavier dudes get on their boosted board and their board goes like that, and they're like dragging a little bit. I mean, Kevin knows what I'm talking about, but
That's good. I mean, we see some of that too in my world. It's like someone will go online and be like, "Yo, I weigh like 260, 270 on a bad day. Like, which wheel should I get?" I'm like, I don't know that you need a wheel.
Yeah.
Maybe a Stairmaster.
yeah,
But yeah, it's something to consider, right? Like you got to really
Definitely.
consider like what suits you and your body type and like your ride style, your terrain. All right. So is your board like their top spec?
yeah. I mean there's like the two top end boards is the Carbon GTR and the Bamboo GTR, and then
Okay.
they make the Stoke, and those are like there are 3. So the two
Stoke is a
It's a
shorty?
short board with
Yeah.
a smaller battery. Has a kicktail. I don't know. It looks really fun. I haven't gotten to try one yet.
Shredlights just gave one away.
Yeah, last night on their Instagram, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely entered.
Nice. Oh.
Like it was like over the last month or something, right? Like
Yeah.
you had to just like
Yeah.
send something.
Yeah. That's funny.
I'm sure guys enter every day were entering.
Yeah.
I obviously did not win. Okay, so that's their top. Then they offer the Stoke, and that one's like a wide board too, right?
It's a lot wider, yeah,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. It's definitely way shorter.
Got a kicktail.
Kicktail, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it would appeal to the crowd that wants that style.
Like you want a skateboard kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Like that old school kind of like fat board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. So are there spec requests that you've put in with the company for future boards?
I haven't not like formally like submitted
No.
a spec, but like I've talked to Maddie a few times about, the board and everything like that. I do think the one thing that Evolve could improve on is the size of their actual motors. I'm pretty light and I've overheated a few times, and it doesn't cause any problems, but like it'll drop you out of GTR mode to Pro mode, and then you don't have the same like torque and acceleration.
Kevin, remember he did the whole,
Yeah, the
he took computer fans
Yeah.
and made his
The steampunk board.
steampunk board. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but he's a big dude. I don't know how big he is, but like
he probably weighs like 200
plus. Yeah.
He's just
He's on
tall.
the right now. Yeah, no, definitely. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he used to overheat all the time. And I think he was on AT wheels though, which is even more resistance.
Yeah, he's the inflated wheels.
Yeah, so the AT wheels definitely there's even more resistance there. So then you definitely overheat a lot faster.
Just because the diameter is bigger.
The diameter's bigger. I think it's just harder for the motors to turn them. They're stickier, so they stick to the ground. There's less free rolling resistance.
So you're urethane all the way.
All the way, yeah, definitely.
Why? Like, I'm sure you've tried the others.
Yeah, I mean, I have the set. I have the conversion set. And I mean, if I deliberately want to go off-roading, then I'll do that. I'll put them on, like, no problem. But, like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just used to riding skateboards. And, like, it doesn't feel like a skateboard anymore when you put those big 7-inch, 6-inch tires on it. Like, I want to feel the road. Like, I want to feel the pavement. I feel like the carves are better.
Oh, you'll feel it when you hit a bump the wrong way.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of it, how many times have you ate it?
Okay. So
on the GTR.
On my Evovle, I have not fallen yet.
Okay.
So it's a quick. But on my boosted, I broke my hand twice.
Like which bones?
I broke the scaphoid in this hand twice. Yeah.
Were you not wearing a...
Nope, I was not wearing any gear. I had a helmet on. So the first time I fell, I was riding in the rain. And, like, I was trying to get home as fast as possible. It started downpouring. I was riding, and I was, like, going the wrong... This was stupid. Like, I never do this anymore because this was, like, I learned my lesson. I was riding the wrong way on the wrong side of the street, and there was a UPS truck. And I was, like, going to make a left past the UPS truck, and a lady was crossing the street, and she just kind of came out right behind the UPS truck. Yeah. And I was on the wrong side being dumb, and I hit her. And I, like, flew and, like, launched and then, like, skidded on the ground. I didn't have gloves or anything. I hit this hand. I, like, immediately knew it was, like, fucked. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, shit. But I ran over to her. I was like, oh, my God, are you okay? I'm so sorry, blah, blah, everything. She's like, oh, no, I'm fine. Like, are you okay, blah, blah. And she got up and she was fine, was good, no worries. So, yeah, that was bad.
So
I went
what's
home.
the healing? Yeah, like...
So it's like the little tiny bone in your thumb over here. It like controls like this movement. So I had like a big like brace on this hand. It was removable, so like I could shower and everything.
Yeah.
But like I couldn't tie my shoes. I couldn't like do this motion at all.
Weird.
So yeah, that was like really bad. That was probably 6-7 weeks. And then the second time I fell was another lady just walked out on the bike lane on her phone. So like she was on her phone. And I was like in the bike lane cruising, no problem, and she just jumped out in front of me and didn't even look, didn't do anything, and I hit her hard and I flew. And she got up and was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I wasn't looking." And I was like, "Wow, you actually took responsibility for that, like awesome." But I was like, "Well, you just broke my hand, like damn." Yeah. And so the same thing, same hand. And then I bought gloves, and I've been wearing the Flatland gloves and all the stuff since.
I'm very skeptical of Flatlands personally.
Really?
Yeah, even for e-skate, I feel like
I've fallen a few times with those gloves on, and like not as bad as these 2 times. And like the little like pad has definitely helped. Like it's skidded down, like you could see on the actual glove. It protected me a little bit.
I feel like it's just not enough. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like the pad could just be a little bit bigger. I understand its design, and I know like what they're borrowing from the Knox thing that was on
The
Moto
motorcycle
gloves.
yeah.
But like. Again, in my world, like it's huge to have like a nice
A big plastic, yeah, like.
Well,
wrist
just
guard or
mainly, I
something.
believe in the slide.
Okay.
Right. So, same situation. You're changing the inertia and just this dispensation of your force, but like, my thought is like, what if you land in such a way that like it catches the textile first?
And pulls that.
Yeah, like. It just depends. A lot of things could happen, right? And the bigger Flatlands have the hyper extend thing in the back. Yeah. So I've made my own gloves. I don't think I have them here today, but they're like EVS gloves. So they have that. They're like moto gloves that are like textile. They have that. And then I grommeted on.
Like a puck or something.
Not a puck, but it's an actual wrist guard thing that like eWheel sends out like free wrist guards with all their unicycles. I took that off and I grommeted that just 3 places onto it, wrapped it, and like to me that would be an ideal for anyone. I think it'd still be a little bit difficult to hold a remote.
That's what I was just gonna say. Is because like I do have actual wrist guards, like the the plastic like
that's
ones
garbage
or whatever.
for your situation.
Well,
for
for that, yeah, because your hands gonna. But when I wear my one wheel though, I will wear those because the one wheel I feel like I'm not going as fast. And if I do gonna go down, I'm gonna go down kind of like straight and hard into the ground. Like I'm not gonna be skidding across the pavement where I need that slide.
Right.
But yeah, no, definitely like gotta gear up.
For sure. So I don't understand why you still have one wheel.
I like the way it rides. I get a lot of hate on it. Everyone talks shit on it. Like for me, so I owned a unicycle, right? I bought a Gotway Tesla from, I don't know who I bought it from, Vincenzo's friend at Kung Fu Tea one day.
Okay.
And I took it home. I learned how to ride it, right? Ride it. It's fun, cool, whatever. Every time I would go out, I would have to tell myself, no, you have to take the unicycle today. You bought that. You have to use it. Every time I wanted to go, I would either want to grab my board or my one wheel. For me, the stance of a unicycle just is not comfortable. Like I was hitting beeps on my Tesla. I was getting 3 beeps. I was doing 25, 26 miles an hour. Like totally, like the one thing about that was I was like, oh, I can go wherever I want. I don't have to worry about my range. Like
Yeah.
compared to what I had at the time. And so like that is where I can see like, oh man, like, you know, just having the opening up my mind to like where I can actually go and like not have to worry about charging. Whenever I could go 10, 15 miles and then turn around and come back and I still have 50% battery left or even more than that.
Yeah.
And like it just was something that I wouldn't gravitate towards. Like I had all 3 lined up in my apartment. Every time I want to go out, I had to be like, I have to take it. And it was like almost a burden for me to have just continue to own it when it wasn't like something that I actually wanted to ride every time I go out, you know? I don't know.
I can shed a tear for that.
Yeah.
I get you. No, I totally get that because I would be the reverse. If I owned a board, one day I think I want to get one just to have, you know, just to put on a pedestal. No, just ride around. But like I enjoy snowboarding and like I enjoy like wakeboarding and like all the like sideways stance type stuff. But and you might have seen my boards are still out here.
Oh yeah.
I started boarding, and it's fascinating that we're like now at this modern day. I said this a couple times now, like old school snowboarder versus skier scenario. So like, it's funny that I'm on the skier side, so to speak. You know, because I was like a huge boarder. Like in college, like I would have been the guy. And I was boarding here in New York for the longest time. When Boosie came around, I like must have just missed it and like fell in love with the UC.
Yeah.
Which is so bizarre.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is like, okay, if you're comparing your experience on a GTR versus a one wheel, help me understand.
It's a different experience.
Like
It's
I've ridden the Pint. I think the XR a little bit too, or is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I understand it's different, but it's like, for me, if I was a boarder, the pros don't outweigh, or the pros don't outweigh the cons in the sense of like. So I guess it feels like surfing a little bit too.
There's more freedom to the agility of the way you can ride an actual one wheel versus how you can ride a board. So I feel like I tend to want to go fast when I'm on my Evovle. Like I just want to go fast. Like I'm not, you know, like we talked about earlier, right? I'm not trying to floor it the whole time, but I'm going to be cruising like 20, 22 miles an hour, like, you know, cruising right around their, you know, your good cruising speed. But on my one wheel, like you can get up to that speed on the one wheel, but it's not fun and it's more nerve-wracking and anxiety. Like you're so anxious the whole time that it's like you don't want to be riding that fast on a one wheel.
Yeah.
So my average speed on the one wheel is like 18 miles an hour, right? And that's like I can feel.
I feel like that's pushing it.
I mean, like they advertise 19 miles an hour top speed, I think, something like that. My top speed in the app is like 22, but that was like an accident, and I didn't mean to do that, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna die. But
do you have those little roller wheels on the front?
I do. I have the nosedive wheels. I don't know if they actually do anything. I've never actually nosedived again, but I just felt like I wanted to have them just in case. If something happened, I've read so much bad stuff about the nosedives. I don't push it that hard though. That's the thing. It's like I know the one wheel, I know what it can do, and I don't want to.
I feel like the culture is a vibe in a sense. It's like the people who ride it are like really chilled out. Like it's just a whole different thing.
It is a different thing, and that's what I think people like. You're like, oh, we talk about specs and everything like that, and like, yeah, you're in a unicycle, right? And I'm on a one wheel.
But you're talking about a lot of money, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Boosted was a lot of money for the specs. And it's same price point.
1,800 for an XR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually look, to be fair, because it's known that I'm a big one wheel hater, but I convinced one of my good friends, Tyler, if you're listening, you know this is true. He saw me in my evolution of electric vehicles, and I was like, dude, I think you should get a one wheel.
Yeah.
Knowing who he was, like, and I pushed him to get an XR Plus or whatever the biggest bad boy is.
Yeah.
I think he had the Pint on order, and I was like, I I don't know.
Gotta get the XR.
Yeah, so he got it. He loves it. He lives in Norway half the year.
Okay.
And then lives here. Actually, I think he's in Florida right now, but he loves it. Cruising around Norway, like no better,
I can imagine. That's awesome.
no better way. And I think it probably can handle some snow a little bit, right?
A little bit, yeah. I took mine out in the snow. I mean, you could get a treaded tire on it. So I'm at like 1,200 miles on my one.
I want
right
to see
now.
a chain tire on yours.
Chain tire, yeah. I don't think it would fit through the little gap, but yeah, I've seen people swap out. There's like the Hoosier and there's the Flight Fin one, and there's all types of different treaded tires now. I'm starting to see a little bit of copper on mine, so I might swap out my tire eventually. But I know a few people in Brooklyn that can do it, but I don't think I would do it myself.
Yeah, I mean, just so when I would watch, like, people were like, "Oh, Mickey, you should watch Sly Dog." That was his name on YouTube?
Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew's stuff. Like, I would watch it, and I'm like, okay, I kind of see what he's selling here, right? Like, because he calls himself like the world's worst DJ or something like that. So he puts like some music on. It's just like a ride video. But for me, it was a little weird because we've seen so many ride videos from like the unicycle community. They're so boring.
Yeah.
Like, as far as like, look, make your ride video, have fun, like get your little Insta360 and go at it. But for me, like, if I'm gonna watch something, I don't really want to watch that
10-minute ride.
Yeah, like I'd rather go ride.
Yeah.
Unless there's like, obviously with my channel, like I try to bring a lot of entertainment that's like beyond just like a 360 video, So I saw his stuff, but the thing that struck me, one of his videos, he probably knows exactly what this is. He picked up some firewood and was going up like a small back alley, like the gradation was like half a degree, and he nosedived just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Maybe because he was carrying a little bit of weight,
extra weight or
like,
something. Yeah.
Why would you want that death machine?
Yeah.
Like, I get e-boarding, I really do. I used to board, but that was that for me was like, my brain malfunctioned at that point. I'm like, how? This guy's like the biggest dude in the scene, and like he's like, but anyways, you probably know, like, they kind of turned their back on him.
A little bit, yeah. Like I don't know. It was an interesting transition for him when he like was like, all right, I got a unicycle, and then now he's like hardcore unicycle, and like I still see him post every now and then in the the one wheel group, but like it's not anywhere near as his notoriety as he was when he was a one wheeler.
Was he doing like a lot of group rides or something? Because it's like,
I mean, he was in Chicago, and I know he was really good friends with Joe, who was the Boosted ambassador out there too, and so they did a lot of rides together. And now Brandon is the Evolve ambassador out there, so I think they still keep doing big group rides and things like that.
Because I went to his channel, I didn't see that many videos.
Yeah.
Like compared to Sean or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, huh, this guy is like touted as like the big house. What am I missing here? But I wonder if he just was like really like in person. I think that's a thing.
Yeah.
One wheel guys are like in person. There must be this massive camaraderie, or it's just like a massive cult or something.
I've never met him in person.
Yeah.
But like we messaged on Instagram a few times, and like I'm good friends with Joe, and like they even came out to New York a few years ago, and I was actually not in the city at the time, but I hooked them up with boards eventually. Like I got 3 boards to them somehow. But like I don't know, like like just because someone in the community like that, like I was just trying to help people out, But,
right. Yeah, so that was like a hard sell for me because I'm like interested in all micromobility. Like I would like to try it all and see what I'm into and try different stuff. Like this different thing, I tried the gyro ball.
The gyro ball?
Mainly because they hired me to create their whole campaign for them.
I watched Tashawn's that you shot that with Tashawn riding it.
I directed that whole thing. Like that's
nice.
They hired my company to like to do all their video campaigns. But I still have it here if you want to try it.
Oh, do you? Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it's like I've tried a bunch of stuff, and like that was the one thing that I was like, for the price. Look, one of my good buddies, one wheel drone guy.
Yeah.
Jose.
Yep.
I said before on Kevin his podcast, I was like, dude, if you look at him and you see the battery on top of his one wheel setup.
Yeah, he hooks it up with it.
Well, it's like, why hasn't One Wheel seen someone like him and been like, oh, maybe we should put more battery in this?
Yeah. I mean, they know. They're aware. They're definitely aware.
Do they care?
They're so like they've slowly been patching that out of their firmware. And so like you'll see guys looking for firmware like 40, 41, 20 or something. I don't know what the exact number is. Don't yell at me in the comments. But like people are looking for boards that like, have a specific firmware number so they can do CNR, which is charge and ride, where they have a battery plugged in, and you've seen the guys run the cable up their leg to the backpack batteries.
Jesus.
And then there's other guys like Jose who then just stick another pack on top.
He's like 2 packs.
Yeah, or 2 packs or whatever. And then I know Andrew Moose, they call him in NYC boarding, and Harrison and those guys all have like modded, you know, one wheels. So just again trying to get more range. We need bigger batteries.
So this is the troll that like we just like. I love to just rib on those guys because it's like out of all of it, theirs is the most silly because of that. It's like the nosedive situation is just so unexpected and hardcore, right? And then you also have the range situation compared to like an e-board where you guys are. I'm loving what's happening with the boards, like with Evolve and different people. Like I'm loving what you get out of it. So that's like the fun, like behind the scenes rib. It's just the fact that like you spent all that. I feel bad, you know, you spent all this money.
Yeah, I mean, I got my one wheel 2 years ago now. I got the XR. They haven't come out with anything like they came out with the Pint, which is a small one, and that has half the range.
Which is
yeah,
what a
but
bizarre
it's like
move.
$900. So like that's the thing. Like
I get why they did it. Like from a market, it's like we were talking about the Oculus.
Yeah.
They're trying to get in more people's hands that are not so enthusiastic.
Well, and that's the thing is they made the Pint have all these like firmware updates, like easy stop, where you can just if you're going forward and you roll backwards, it like you know stops. So you don't have to like do the weird like foot thing on the one wheel. You don't have to like take your foot off half the pad or whatever. So they're like trying to make it easier for people to like ride these things. I mean, I'm not affiliated with One Wheel at all in any way, but I think they're probably gonna have like a Pint, like everything that the Pint has in an XR. And hopefully, maybe with a bigger battery though. Like I don't know if that's actually gonna happen.
They got to tune it too,
they
right?
patented something with the suspension system, so I don't know if we'll get like a S18 or something out of one wheel. I don't know.
Well, like we said, the dying call of boosted was give us more range.
Yeah.
So like, why don't we just focus on that?
Yeah.
So what's your obviously like probably like 90% of your time you're bringing your board out.
Yeah.
And then, like, what's a one-wheel situation?
A one-wheel situation is, like, I'm going to go ride by myself. I'm going to cruise. I'm going to put music on. I'm going to chill. Like, when I want to go on my roam wheel, I'm not, like, trying to get anywhere. I'm just, like, trying to go and just have, like, find some cool lines, like, see a cool hill. The cool thing about the one wheel is how versatile it is without having to, like, do anything to it. Like, if I want to ride the streets, I ride the streets. I want to ride the grass, I ride the grass. I want to go dirt. Like, anything, it's all totally, I don't have to change a tire. I don't have to do anything. With the with Evolve, I got to change my wheels up if I want to go off road, and like just trying to find that right ride. And I feel like the one wheel kind of like nails it with just like their stock tire,
right?
And you can just hit all these types of terrain. You could cruise. Oh, look, I want to go up to there, and you just do it. Like you don't have to think about I got to find a path or I got to climb stairs or whatever. Like I don't know. You ride the grass, you ride the hill.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. It's a different experience though. Like, if you go on a one-wheel ride, that's the thing is, like, you come on an e-board ride, and if you have a one-wheel and you come on an e-board ride, you're left in the dust, and you're not having a good time, right? If you go on a one-wheel ride with a bunch of one-wheelers, it's awesome because everyone understands the limitations of the wheel and kind of, like, caters around that, like, all right, we're going to go hit this trail, we're going to go hit that road, we're going to go down there, and, like, you can kind of plan it out more, and everyone's kind of, like, more willing to, like, wait for people and, like, stay within a group together than any of these other rides I feel like we go on.
Right.
Because, like, you can't keep up on a DJ strip ride, you're not coming. You're, like, gone, David Jansen, you're not even part of the group ride.
It's funny because I feel like Kevin's rides just naturally evolved over time. I don't think they were like the fast-paced things they are now.
They were chill skate.
Yeah.
Chill skate.
Somehow that lost its meaning.
Yeah,
which is fine, but still, like, I think once he moved on from the Evolve is when it became a little less chill.
Yeah, yeah. When you get a board that goes 40 miles an hour or faster.
Yeah. The new Calis go.
I don't even know.
The new motor I think he just posted the other day we'll be able to do 55.
Jeez.
Which is funny because when I saw him at Broadway Bomb, he saw my unicycle and was like praising how cool it all looked or whatever. And I was like, yeah, thanks, man.
Were you on the Sherman that day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, we're not quite Cali specs yet, but I'm getting there. And he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's more than Cali specs. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And anyways, but I think now as like a few days after that, he's announced some like new motors or something that will allow
So
for that.
I asked him, I was like, hey man, like before Evovle and everything, I was like, hey, like, what can you still making boards with street wheels? And they don't make street wheel boards anymore with urethane because their motors are too powerful. You just slide out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But you
that
know
kind of like taking the Cali off the list for me then.
But the Cali is a different kind of ride from what I've been told.
Yeah, no, definitely. So like it's a completely different experience. But again, like when I look at I can get 60 miles of range, I'll deal with any kind of ride at that point.
Yeah. Wait. So why is it off? Just because there's no urethane?
I don't want. Yeah, I don't want to.
I feel
My
like
primary
you could make
board.
that
My primary
concession.
board. I want to be. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could. It just feels so different. Like I would deal with any type of other board. I don't think I could deal with
If
different
anyone
wheels.
ever tried to say Tom's not a real boarder, you're insane. This is proof positive right here.
like urethane people. I don't know. Like everyone in like all the forums and stuff are like, oh yeah, you gotta try urethane. Get your. I mean, not urethane. Everyone's like, go get AT. It's more comfortable. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
man, no. Stick with the urethane. You got more range. You got more power. I don't know. Like it just feels more like a skateboard.
If I was in it, I would have the AT tires or whatever. Mainly because I know that like the bigger diameter is key in New York.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah, definitely. If I miss a pothole, if I misread a situation, like I'm way more likely to go down, no doubt.
or like, okay, famously to myself, one day I used to live in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Okay.
And they were like just tearing up the road back down there, and I was
Oh,
like
man.
just riding to the grocery store. So I had like, actually when I boarded, I didn't wear anything.
Yeah. When
Skaters, like
Yeah.
you're not wearing it.
I bought a helmet when I bought my board.
Exactly. So I'm just like me with my glasses on, like cruising along, and then in New York we have these giant metal plates that go over, presumably holes they make in the ground.
Yeah.
So you don't fall in. I tried to like bonk it to pop up.
Yeah. Didn't go.
Didn't go so well.
Ooh.
That dude, hard steel to the face.
Oh,
It was
that's
like
rough. Damn.
my glasses thankfully didn't shatter my eye or anything, but they were like halfway down my face. I
Damn.
was just like, I think I bruised all of this here. It was bad, and like
Yeah.
like an old lady saw me, and that was it. She was like, idiot.
So this was actually like last year. I was out riding my Tarab, just like a loaded Tarab. It's a dancing board. I was just kick pushing. I had my helmet on, my regular like white Bell helmet, like not my full face or anything. And I was like kick pushing home from like a good session. I went out by myself. And I went over one of those plates. You know how sometimes there's like the big holes that they have for
Yep.
like the handle or whatever?
Yep.
So I went over it. My front wheels went over it fine. My back wheel went just right into the hole, got caught, yanked, and I flew off. And just like landed on like the ground or whatever. And there was a cab behind me. He rolled up and just laid on his horn. I'm like, oh man, give me a second, man. Like I just ate it so bad. But
That's wild.
it was annoying.
What street was that on?
That was on Bedford in the West Village.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, smaller
It's
street.
one of the like smaller back
Yeah,
streets. Yeah, but he was just
He was a
not
jerk then.
He was not giving a fuck. Yeah, he just totally laid on his horn. And I was like, give me a minute.
So you were like laid out, and he's like
I was
mad
on
that
the
you're in
ground.
way.
On the ground, exactly, mad because I'm in the way.
That's New York, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I don't have time for you to be dead.
Yeah.
Get up. That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
those things are a little frightening.
Yeah.
Also,
Back
like,
wheel.
as soon as it rains, those things scare me.
Slippery.
Even
It's like
on
an
a
ice skating
unicycle.
rink. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, that's like PTSD.
It just slide sideways.
Yeah. Dang, man. Okay, so do you think that in the future you'll need a more powerful board?
I don't know if I need a more powerful board. Like, I feel like the top speed and the range I have right now is fine. Like, it's totally like my daily driver. I don't need a sports car. Like, whatever. Like, it's fine.
Right.
I just want a bigger motor because I think that will solve the overheating problems.
Okay.
I don't really know that for a fact. This was what I've read online.
So you're, obviously for most of us this way, but your day job has nothing to do with this.
No.
What's your
So
field?
I'm the head of customer success at Sprout Video. So we're like kind of like a small startup online video hosting platform, mainly for businesses. So it's like if you want to put your video online, but you want to make sure it doesn't go on YouTube, it doesn't go on Vimeo. It's like somewhere secure where only your specific audience can view it, or if it's like a monetized video that you want to sell access to. Or we have a lot of people that do online schools and like tutoring classes and that kind of thing. So it's more like secure hosted online video, like made for a specific audience. If you don't want your video to go viral, you can use our platform.
So you So you're inside presumably all day.
Yeah, I work at home now. I mean,
Yeah. But before that, you were like indoors in the office all day.
so my office is actually in Williamsburg, and I live in West Village, so I would commute that every day on a board.
Gotcha.
As long as it was dry.
So now do you have to invent reasons to ride?
Oh, definitely, all the time. I'm like, oh, we're going to the store.
Honey, I'm going to get coffee.
Yeah, I'll be back in an hour. Wait, what?
Yeah, I feel like that's probably a thing for a lot of us.
Yeah.
All right, so from an outside perspective, you know, I know you not very well, but we've hung out a few times. You, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems like you're just like an extraordinary guy who has a pretty regular life in New York, and then you have this really interesting board thing that kind of came into your life and sort of like still is like this compartmentalized thing. Where the contrast I'm making here is like, for me, I'm kind of the person where like if I get into something, I get too deep. Mm-hmm. I'm like all in. It's all encompassing. It's like all I can think about. I'm overly obsessed with electric unicycles.
Yeah.
To the point where like I've done everything in my power to get to a point to where basically I don't have to pay for them anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like in. Not because I was like I don't want to pay. It was I'm just making a point that like I'm so obsessed. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're more in my camp or the camp I painted of you?
So it's definitely, I feel like it's changed over the last few years. When I was with Boosted, like you probably know, I was more active in the community. I was definitely like we were having group rides every week, twice a week. Like we were going hard.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, not that it like, it became more of a job at that point where when you have a group ride, right, and like you're the sole person who's like hosting the group ride and you're responsible for everyone coming, right, and like you need to make sure that everyone's staying together, right, and when you have group rides and consistently like 60, 70, 80, 100 people are showing up to these, it's more like anxiety and pressure on me than I really wanted to take on all the time. And so like we still do group rides and things like that. We don't do as many as we do, but you see how many people come out when we do have a group ride. Mm-hmm. Like it's more work than people would imagine, which is kind of why you see me going out on like smaller rides now where I like, oh, there's like 5 or 6 people rolling out. Like, oh, we're going to meet up with those guys instead of like having a big ass. And also
like
COVID
it's ideal
too.
Anyways though.
Yeah, you're more light, you're more agile, you can have more fun. You're not just like constantly aware of like, oh man, I'm gonna crash into everyone around me all the time.
To be fair, where else in the world are you having that kind of a massive group ride?
No, yeah, that's true. It is fun, like no doubt. I love doing it, and it's a great time. And like I that's kind of like my agreement with Evovle is based around me having events and things like that, right? Which is like fine, and I love doing that. It's just to the point where it kind of like took away from me and like my fiance and like things at home, stuff like that, where she, like not like she was complaining, like she's totally supportive of all my crazy, like I have like 6 skateboards in the living room, right? Like she's got to be cool with it.
Have you set a date yet?
Yeah, so
okay.
September 4th, 2021, hopefully, if no coronavirus is still happening then, but yeah.
Supposedly there's supposed to be a vaccine by April.
We'll see. Pfizer, let's go.
Did you hear, side note, I know I said this before, no politics, but Trump recently said we're going to have a vaccine by April and New York won't get it.
Yeah.
I was like,
oh, cool, bro.
And then, like they asked Andrew Cuomo like on CNN, like, why do you think they singled you out? And he was like, he's got a big God complex himself.
Yeah.
Cuomo was like, well, I think it's because I have been his biggest like naysayer.
Yeah.
You?
Not really. I don't know. Like he did give him a good like time with the coronavirus. Exactly.
Yeah.
The COVID updates. I would definitely watch Cuomo's over Trump's.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But he was like we had those signs. Have you seen these posters that Cuomo had made?
No.
Oh my gosh. It's like this like mountain of misery with him at the top like Conan, and it's like says like love wins on it or something.
What the
like he's like the savior of New
guy?
York.
Oh man. Yeah.
No, but anyway, so he was like, yeah, well luckily Trump won't be around. Like to enforce that ridiculous like, you can't even do that.
It's restricted to a state. Yeah. It's nuts.
Yeah, anyways. Yeah, so those group rides are pretty like spectacular and fun, but it seems pretty rare.
Yeah.
As far as like in the world, like where that can occur.
Yeah, I mean, you see San Francisco has some big rides. I think Germany's been having some big rides for their because they're trying to get legalized over there. And every now and then they'll have like a big protest ride where it's like 200 people meet up and they ride around the Capitol or something.
And that's a fun protest, right?
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
So you feel like you've just kind of like you're not as obsessed now, but it's definitely still like symbiotic part of your life.
It's not, yeah. So it's definitely like a symbiote. Like I use my board as that's my main form of transportation. I don't own a car. Like that's my skateboard is my car. Like it's how I get everywhere.
Yeah.
And so like it's definitely a huge part of my life. And also like like last year we were big into it. Like coronavirus definitely took a huge toll on like how many rides and how frequently and things we could do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of like maintaining some like sanity over my own, like, because I'm not like I like talking to people. I'm like kind of extroverted, but I still also like going home and just playing video games for 5 hours. Like it's still like a good time. Like gotta grind out the new Destiny stuff.
Yeah, I have a large family at home, so I feel like I'm often like, how can I get out and breathe a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. I get that. I feel like that's kind of a bit of a progression for some of the older EUC riders who like were huge in the scene for a while, and then it was just like, now they definitely use it every single day, but it's not it's not like a fanfare. It's like it became like sneakers. Right?
It's like
you put on your shoes
now.
every day,
Yeah,
and you use them to get around, but you're not like,
I'm not a sneakerhead.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So okay, I still feel like internally though I'm like overly obsessed. Like, so like I'm making content around it and stuff like that, but I'm more interested in learning about a lot of other stuff and really the people behind why they ride, like what makes you ride. Like Kevin clearly had a long path of just like adrenaline and just like coming up through the whole skate world and stuff like that, but like what do you think makes you love riding?
I think it gives you, so I grew up in Jersey, and we had like dirt bikes and ATVs and that kind of thing growing up, like when I was like 12, 13 years old and things like that. And like when I first got on a boosted board and I was ripping down the West Side Highway, I was like, this is like legit like the dirt bike equivalent of a skateboard, like and then just hauling it and I was like, oh, I'm dead, all right, I gotta go back. But but like just had that in the city and like being able to kind of like get anywhere I want to on my own schedule and not having to be like, oh, I gotta get a train and this thing, like I like New York City more now that I have an electric skateboard. It changed my perception of how like I interact with the city and like how I actually feel about living here. Like I like it more. Like not that I had a problem with living in New York before. Like the subway's awesome, and I didn't have a car before.
Yeah,
that.
but like let's be honest, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
right.
Agreed.
Like
it's so convenient, but also at the same time you're like, I gotta get on the subway and I gotta take an hour to get out to where I'm going.
If you miss your stop or something, it's a pain for sure. So it gives you a lot of freedom.
Yeah. And like when you're on the subway, like what are you doing? Like I like sit on the subway and close my eyes and listen to music. Like I don't know. I haven't been on the subway honestly since March, though. Like ever since coronavirus, I haven't been on the subway. Yeah,
it's probably been longer for me.
Yeah.
I would only take it when we'd, as a family, be going somewhere.
Okay.
Otherwise, on my own, I haven't taken the subway in years.
Yeah. So I would still take it in the rain. Like when it rained, I still had to go to work and things like that.
I ride in the rain.
But yeah, see, I don't.
I mean, urethane probably.
Urethane tires. Yeah. Yeah.
There,
but even then, though, I like,
there's a
they're
limit.
Not waterproof. Like, they're water resistant, but still, like, I'm not.
Well, there's a limit for sure. Like, as far as like, I've ridden in like hurricane type situations on my unicycle. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Because you're riding slower. You're not like free and cruising, and you're getting pelted.
Yeah.
With the rain, and plus, if I'm going a certain speed, it's harder.
Hitting me in the face. And
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like I tell people when they ask, like, yeah, you can ride these electric stuff like in a bit of rain, but the moment you feel uncomfortable, the board definitely feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So if there's somebody looking to get into electric longboards now, what is something you would tell them? Maybe something to watch out for, or maybe something excited to look forward to, or maybe there's a board you would recommend.
Try it. If you can, if you know somebody, if you know of a demo event, like the thing is, like, everyone has their own personal preference on what they like. And, like I personally like my Evovle, I'm sponsored by them, but I chose them, right? That was a choice. Like if you want to go out and try any board, try all the boards that you want, right? Try all the boards that you want and then make that decision from there. Like you can't call it before getting on one. And that's like probably the biggest advice I would give to somebody.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You think they'll be hooked as soon as they get on?
Oh, definitely. I got hooked the second I got on. So I went to Aether Apparel, which is just like a clothing store in Soho when I bought my boosted board. And they let me try it in the store, just go back and forth like on their carpet. And I was like just knowing how torquey it was in there, Like I was like, oh man, I can't wait to get this thing outside.
And also, we never, well, maybe you did, but we never tried back when it had to be attached, right? We have
a connected?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You have a wireless thing. That's probably like the first time you ever tried it was like amazing, right?
Yeah.
You're like, it's wireless in my hand.
Yeah, I mean, I never tried a board that was connected like with a cable to it.
Right, I didn't either, but I remember seeing imagery of
there was the Z
boosted
board,
people
I think?
trying.
Oh, they had the prototypes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the last thing that we skipped over was you were talking about your controller.
Mm-hmm.
What was the transition like from the boosted controller to the Evvolve controller?
Oh, so it definitely took me a few days. That's something that just because like the boost controller, you have the thumb dial, right? Goes up, goes forward, goes down is brake. It goes in reverse as soon as you keep pulling back all the way. Like it's just intuitive. You get on it, you kind of understand it, you know what it does. The Evvolve remote, you have a trigger for your throttle, and then you have a thumb button up on top for your brake. So it splits out the two. So it took me probably like a good week to finally like really get comfortable with it, where I'm at the point where like I don't have to think about it anymore. Because like there's where you're like, oh, what do I gotta do to hit the brake again? Like, you know, like there was a moment where like I was definitely going slower than I normally would, just kind of getting used to the board. Like you definitely want to, you know, like with anything, you got to build up your confidence with it. The board is different, you know, you got to learn it, that kind of thing. But
second nature now.
Yeah, totally second nature now. I got on floor, no problem, good to go.
And you rode the Broadway Bomb.
Yeah.
How was that?
So this was the first year I did it on an electric board.
Okay.
Every year I've done it before, 6-7 years in the past. I've always done it on push board. I used to do it on my Dervish. I did it one year on a penny board with some of my friends. We were dumb.
Wild.
Yeah. And then last year I did it on my Dervish again. But then I did rode on the Evvolve this year. Getting a little older now, and oh man, like getting down at the bottom, and we were only like a half hour, 45 minutes in. Like last year it took us like 2 hours, something like that. Like it took us 40 minutes this time.
Whoa. Let's harp on that for 2 seconds. What is like the average time of a kick push?
So, I mean, the people that win in like half hour, 40 minutes. Like you see Kiefer, and I don't know the other guy that won this year, but Kiefer didn't win this time. He won this 8 years in the past or something like that, 9 years in the past. I don't know the guy's name who won this year, but they do it in like a half hour. But they're also like crazy animals. Don't stop. They're in front of the pack. They're running that. They're actually the ones running the red lights to make it safe for everyone behind them to like stop the traffic.
That's wild.
Yeah. So they got balls. Like those guys are crazy in respects.
I saw last year. I saw a girl in like a bodycon mini skirt thing, and then sneakers. And I was like, "What are you wearing? Like, what is going on here?" And she was killing it, bro. She ate it too. And at the bottom, she was bloody.
Oh, damn.
I was like, this girl's real.
Dude, yeah. Some of the people like take it really seriously. I've never actually like competed and like tried to race in the Broadway Bomb.
Okay.
I'm not that good. I'm not trying to like, kick push 30 miles an hour.
So you did a half hour this time, roughly 40 minutes.
40 minutes about that. Yeah, but again, we were cruising. Like we weren't hauling the whole time. Like I was on my Evvolve. Like all my friends were on my extra boosted boards, and we were just cruising. We were staying with the pack.
I did it in like 40.
We saw you in the beginning, and then you guys took off.
Yeah, but Sean and I were just cruising because we were filming for the whole thing. But it was about 40 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
According to my video. And like the fastest EUC guy, Turbo Chris, did it in 15 minutes.
Damn, that's crazy.
Right? What are we? 116th Street, all the way down to the Bull.
Yeah.
Which I think is more than
116 blocks. Yeah, more than.
Do you know how many miles it is?
8.
8 miles.
8-ish. 8 point something. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's crazy.
8 miles, and he's a good rider.
It's fast.
But that's wild.
Yeah.
Fun time.
And you think about that though, like he's in front of even the people. Like when you're out there and you're the first one, like you don't have that advantage of like people stopping traffic. Like when we're cruising in the back, like we don't have to worry about red lights. We're just cruising. We're fine. But yeah, those guys that are actually like, I don't know, you saw that trailer. Like, what if you're in the front? You literally jump over that trailer that guy was on. Like that was crazy.
I know. I was like, I'm riding. I'm like, oh look, this trailer is gonna stop. What?
Oh, nope. They're going
just
over.
Jumping over. What I found the most like funny thing. It's not bad or good. It's just very funny to me. It was like at certain pockets and points, especially at the beginning of the race, people are just mashing up, and then like boards go everywhere. People not getting hurt, but like fall off their boards.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, where's my, like no one can find their board.
Grabbing them. Yeah, they're all grabbing each other's. Yeah.
And they're like, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. I had a dude, I don't know if you saw my video, but I had a dude fall in front of me, and then I had the 360 camera. I ended up literally jumping over him, like full on, like cleared his body, and I was fine. I ran it off. But it's
So you hopped off your board.
I hopped off my board. He was carving, or no, he wasn't carving. He was like kick pushing straight and then like wobbled to the left and then wobbled back right and then fell off his board and I was on the right side. I like jumped over him. My board hit his body.
Ooh.
And then I just ran off and was fine.
That sounds awful for him.
It was awful for him, but it was a cool video.
Then you saw Kevin's friend.
No.
He was like, "Did you see my buddy, Mickey?" I don't know who he is, but he was on a LaCroix, had like the super wide trucks, like their widest trucks.
Okay. Like
was lane splitting.
Yeah.
And thought he had it and
launched.
smacked. Oh, bro,
Ooh.
you haven't seen the video?
No, I gotta watch it.
It's in one of the Telegram chats. It's in all of them probably.
Oh.
And he just launches 2 cars forward.
What? He must have gone fast.
Lands in the like intersection. You just hear. It's crazy.
I've had that happen before. I was like, again, trying to kind of like cut. Like I was in the bike lane and there was like a car kind of like in the bike lane because now all these restaurants are like building out their structures and stuff. So like everyone's trying to like, slide in the middle. And like I was kind of going underneath his like rearview mirror or whatever. And so I like kind of ducked down and then my tire on my back got caught on like a van that was parked to my left and I just like fell forward. But I wasn't going fast or anything, but I just like stopped and I just kind of like rolled on my side. I was like, oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, that's like the benefit of the unicycle is like, I know we figured out over the years that if I just put my elbows out slightly, that's wider than my pedals.
Yeah.
So I know if I hit my elbows, I'm getting close.
Yeah. But
I'm still good. Right? Where like maybe you could figure the same out for yourself, I guess.
Normally I'm pretty good about it, but it was a little bit too close and I was like trying to get the work. And
but even then, like if you get too close to one side, right? Like your one wheel could catch on
the other,
right? Where like mine, it's dead center. So I know that if I go super far right, close to a car or something, like, and say my arm smacks it, I'm probably still good.
Good on your feet.
Yeah, it just depends. So it's fascinating, but dude, that was a wild fall.
I gotta watch that one. Damn, I gotta look that up.
Right on, man. I feel like we talk about a lot of cool stuff here.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
What is your Instagram handle or your YouTube, Facebook, whatever you want to put out there? So
Instagram is probably the biggest. That's where like I post the most stuff. That's just at TLP Productions. Okay. It'll appear here on the screen. I don't know. Probably not.
Maybe. We'll see. It'll be in the show notes because this is on like all the podcast stuff too. It's like Spotify, Apple, Google, blah blah blah.
Nice.
So it'll be there for sure. TLP Productions. What is that? Why is it Productions?
So I used to before coronavirus, I did photography. Okay. And so I shot for Yelp and like in college I shot for a bunch of people and it just kind of like started as that and then it eventually is 100% e-skate stuff now though. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but you're doing cool videos and like stuff of your rides and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we do some good stuff.
Right on. So you can follow him at TLP Productions. See all the daily shenanigans. Yeah. Lots of cool stories going on.
New York City.
Yeah. Well, when things open back up, are you guys planning anything maybe in the spring?
So
people to come out?
Evovle wants to rent out that go-kart track in Hoboken. I forgot what it's called. Fast Track or something. I don't know. Okay. They want to rent that out and have an event there. Sick. And we just haven't been able to because it hasn't been open. Yeah. And so they did one. I think they got clearance in Australia to do one recently, so they had a big event out there. If you check out their like Instagram or their Facebook page, you'll see a bunch of cool stuff there, or probably YouTube actually. But yeah, like that's like we'll hopefully be able to rent out the go-kart track, and that would be pretty dope. Because I mean, that's everybody's invited. Then it's not just like only people in Evovle boards. Like I'm sure it'll be everybody from NYC, e-boarding, and all that.
The one boosted rider left.
Yeah, right. Yeah, oh, he's charging.
Got him right at the end. All right, man. Thank you for coming by.
Cool, man.
This was fun chatting about e-board stuff.
Definitely. Thanks, man.
All right,
guys. Take care.
See ya.